right, hello cyclocross fans, and welcome to this edition of Crosstalk. Joining us from all the way across the pond, Lars van der Haar. Welcome to the show. We're here out in Las Vegas right now, the day of Cross Vegas, and so in these style of interviews, the Crosstalk, we try to go outside of the typical post-race interview, pre-race interview, and get to know you a little better as a person, as a bike racer. So let's just start it off with, when did you find cycling as a sport and as a passion?
It was mostly after my injury in gymnastics, and then I started cycling because my dad did some cycling, and first year was a pain. I just hated the sport, hated everything about it, and then got into it and did my first year of a little bit of cyclocross around the club, and yeah, started liking it.
So what age was that, and how serious into gymnastics were you?
Gymnastics was pretty serious. Was a regional champion, trying to become national champion, and then I even quit judo to do gymnastics more. Wow. But and then the cycling just went more serious when I was junior 223.
Wow. So did you find the transition to cycling, like, was there a fitness from gymnastics that translated well, or did you have to start?
No, it was gymnastics is more of a muscle sport.
Yeah.
So you also need a good condition and form for that. But cycling is a sport where you have to put a lot of hours in, where gymnastics was a technique sport where you just had to do your exercise a lot of times.
Did anything translate over?
Well, your feeling of balance on the bike, that helps a lot, and the judo helps with crashing, so you roll over a little bit better instead of breaking your collarbone a lot.
You and Sven Nys in a fight, do you think you could take him with your judo skills?
I don't know, Sven is a lot bigger and stronger, so maybe I can run away and be safe.
Yeah, so once you started cycling, I mean, it sounds like you found cyclocross very early. Was that always the main sport for you, the main focus, as opposed to road or mountain bike or anything?
I just liked it more. So yeah, and pretty soon I already wanted to be better there. But I would still do road, but I was just always more able to do nice results in cyclocross than I was in the road.
Do you feel like you, just as a rider, that you are more, I don't know, specialized towards those sort of efforts, as opposed to just having more fun doing it?
I think also because on the road you need some more power to go against the wind, where in cyclocross because I'm small, you've got a little bit more an advantage by having not that much weight and being small or going around the corners. Mm-hmm. So, and you won't go that deep into the mud because you're also not that high of weight. So. Right.
So, and tell me, here in the U.S., people here are very familiar with just how juniors come up racing, and there's local club teams, and but cycling compared to here in the U.S., I mean, kids have school sports like basketball and football that they look at and they see these superstars on TV, and cycling is like it's just not the same. Whereas for you, I mean, you grew up watching cycling on TV as a kid and watching cyclocross. At what point did you start to think of it as, this is what I want my career to be? I want to be one of those guys racing on TV and racing in the big races.
Took a long while because I got into a sport. My dad never raced, so I did not know that much about the sport. So I remember going to the juniors and suddenly being in the national team. I was like, national team? Didn't know that existed. So yeah. That was the point where I started realizing that, hey, there's something to make here. And then I started to become better and better. And as a second year junior, I was second in the World Cup and doing really well, national champion. And that was the first time I realized, hey, maybe I can do something in this.
So I'm sure as soon as that success came in cyclocross, I'm sure you got phone calls and from road teams and all sorts of stuff. Obviously, there's potentially more money to be made or stuff like that. What kept you in cyclocross?
I don't know, just liked it more, and I think that in cyclocross there's decent money to make as well. And I think if you go on the road, it's a bigger pond, so you need to, there are more fish in there. So it's harder to get a win or be a really, really good rider to make a lot of money. Where in cyclocross, if you're good at that, which I was, it's easier to have a good, decent money out of it.
Was there, I mean, when people here in the U.S. think of cyclocross, they think Belgium first and foremost, and they think of all those riders. What's the scene like where you're from in your country? How big of a sport is it?
It was really big in the years, say, early 2000, 1990, those years. Then it got a little bit cold because we didn't have a really good rider anymore doing a lot of cross. We had Lars, but he stopped going on the road. So now it's starting to building up again, and especially in the south of our country, it's pretty big, and it's a lot of crowds coming out to the races. So yeah, it's coming again, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and more races are coming now. So that's good.
Was there a rider that you looked up to more than others, or that sort of helped you in your progression from junior?
Yeah, mostly my old coach Richard Groenendaal. He was just my idol, and I looked up to him.
Was there a day that you remember beating him for the first time? Like, because he was a...
No, because he quit before I came on 23, so I never raced against him.
Tell me today now, when you come to race in the U.S. here, how different of a scene is it? I mean, you've done Cross Vegas now. You said this will be your 4th year. Just what stands out to you as the differences between the U.S. scene versus back home?
Well, you've got a bit different crowds here. They cheer for everyone, while in Belgium they will cheer only for their rider.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the courses are a little bit different. In Holland and Belgium they're a bit more, you need more technique to get through the corners, to get through the whole course. Mm-hmm. Where here, they're, well, in Vegas mostly, they're like really wide lanes and just going fast, not that much technique. The technique that are in there are the stairs and the barriers, and they just try to make it more show, where in Belgium and so it is already a show because the natural courses are already that hard.
Right.
So here they have to make more artificial courses than they would in Belgium.
Obviously here in the US we want racing, we want the Europeans to come over, we want to have World Cups. When you talk to your colleagues, your fellow racers back home, what's the general consensus about coming to the US to race, whether it be for a World Cup or for a race like this?
Mostly just the time that goes into it, because it's a long flight, you're tired, and it has to fit in the goals you have for your season. Mm-hmm. So if you want to be good in the race in Belgium, it's hard to come here. Or like now, it's good if it's in September, because you'll still have time to be okay for October when the first World Cup starts. But if they really want to do a World Cup here, I think it's possible. But they will have to combine it a little bit. That you can be here for a maximum 2 weeks, maybe do a week of good training, then one race somewhere, and then we're in again a good week of training, and then you've got the World Cup, and then go home. I think that would be possible, but I don't think they can do it suddenly in November or wherever, because then it's just going to be too big of a pain to get everything out there.
When you're here in the U.S., aside from the racing, and obviously you have a lot of sponsor obligations, what's your favorite thing to do here while you're in the U.S., just for fun?
I don't know, not that much.
I mean, are there stores that you can't find back home or anything like that?
No, actually not. You've got, of course everything is bigger here. So
especially in Las Vegas.
Yeah, especially in Las Vegas. But no, I don't do that much actually. I just try to rest as much as I can and be ready.
Try to do well in the race.
Yeah.
Cool. So starting to look forward now. I mean, you're 23, so still a very young rider. You have a long career ahead of you. Do you envision staying with cyclocross long term? And if so, what do those goals look like for you?
Yeah, definitely. I want to try and stay in for long term, but just trying to become better and better every year, and maybe one year become world champion. That's, I think, the biggest goal to have. You're
still top ranked rider in the world, so I mean it's a very realistic goal at this point. Is it? I don't know. Does it feel realistic to you, or in your head are you still thinking more of a long-term progression to get there?
No, I think it's realistic, especially because the World Championship is not always the best representative to the whole season. Someone can win the championship without having done one races. You see Stibar, he won it, never seen him for the whole year. So that's the World Championship, that can happen. So yeah, everyone can win it, but I will try and this year maybe in Tabor, because I won the World Cup, will be a good chance for me to become world champion, and then hopefully I can progress and be also maybe really dominant for a year. That's also really nice. But don't know if it's gonna happen, but I'll try to.
Like I said, crosstalk interview. We talk about more than just the racing. So outside of bike racing, maybe during the summer you have time off or something, you have a couple of days off. What's your biggest passion outside of cycling? What do you like to do? Yeah,
I just like to go out and do something nice with my girlfriend. You go out to dinner. I like going out to dinner a lot, and not like we go out for whole days or something, because you still have to train and get your rest in. This year, fortunately, we couldn't go on a holiday together because she had to race in the week I had off.
Yeah, they probably know your girlfriend. She's a professional racer on the women's team, right?
Yeah, she is.
Very cool.
So yeah, sometimes it's hard to do things together, but mostly I just go out with friends, or yeah, you go somewhere and just have lunch, or you walk to the city. But don't do that much though. Mostly it's just trying to get enough rest and do your trainings good.
Cool. Well, by the time people see this, the race will have been over. So good luck to you. Hope you did well, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Good luck.